Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a trained government remote viewer, also trained and used for interspecies communication by the US government when I was a child. I have a degree in political science. I opened and ran a business for 30 years that is still running very successfully today, even though it was taken over by somebody else who's much better at business than I am. So I'm not a flake. I like things that are long term. I'm a Cancer astrologically, and we're called the mother of the zodiac, and we're all about everybody being okay, and we can be a pain in the neck, very neurotic, and going on and on and on because we're a water sign, and water signs go on and on and on. Earth signs anchor things, and air signs get real creative, and fire signs give vitality. So it's important that when you put together a team, this multidimensional information is at your fingertips. So when you interview somebody, you know what their astrological is, their astrological sign. You will know that when they were born, they were packed with a programming set in place, but also in receive mode from the planets, minute to minute, every day, all their life, of information that might be helpful for you to know so that your team is balanced. It's a lack of balance that creates all the illnesses on the planet, whether they're emotional, mental, spiritual. But we're in very exciting times. What can I tell you? Yesterday, I went together with my team, the Mantrista movement, which, by the way, there is a government controlled remote viewer who presents as a shaman and whose job it is to take over my Mantrista movement, which is not going to happen because his intentions are different, or to take it down. That tried mind controlling me and also mind controlling my followers. So I let them know yesterday that if I find that they're following these particular people, I don't want them in my group. I don't care that they don't buy into what it is that I am selling, which is information. It's a transference, like it's a heaviness. They create a heaviness. You can't have people like that around. It's not what they say, what they do. It's about their energetic signature and the weight of their energy. So, anyway, so the chat last night was about what are those three, four, five? I don't think it's up to five. I think it's up to four, three green things that are coming towards the planet. So we went ahead and checked what it was as a group. And I don't do all the work at all, even though if I see there's a few of them going off in the wrong direction because they're not really remote viewing, they have thoughts and opinions. And then I'll pull them off and give a piece of information that I do see and then kind of get them headed in the right direction. But bottom line of those objects that are on their way here is that basically a spaceship. But then I went ahead and I asked the dolphins, I said, what do we need to know about this? And I got really, really, really happy with the answer. And darn, if that little document is not up for me to read to you what they say, which is the reason for the post that I'm sitting in front of. This is what the dolphins had to say. I asked them. Now, mind you, the dolphins were considered gods by the Greeks that gave us Aristotle and Plato. Those Greeks considered the dolphins, the animal, to be gods. And they are my masters, my friends, my helpers. So here's what they said last night at around 6:30, 7 o'clock. I said, what do we need to know about those green objects headed here? And their answer was, oh my God, they're good. There will be a worldwide awakening to different types of beings. Don't be surprised, they continued, at anything, including if they do your housekeeping. What? Dolphins have a sense of humor. Humans will need to get used to interacting with machines, they continued. And I said, well, what do we do? And they said, anchor earth energy. That's in the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer, it doesn't say deliver us from evil. It says help us to be in the present, which means you have enough of the element of earth. So anchor earth's energy, don't disassociate, which in the Lord's Prayer, that's when evil comes in. Pay attention to kids and their dreams. That was the message from the gods that are poured into the physical body of dolphins, having to do with what is headed towards earth. And then I laughed because that statement, don't be surprised at anything, including if they do your housekeeping. I remembered Elon and his robots. Here we go. There he is with the robots that can clean your house. Optimus. My God, Elon. I saw a quote from Tesla yesterday when he was saying to somebody kind of at the end of his life, all I get are insults, people hating me and accusing me of things. Yeah, you have a lot in common with him. Well, it kind of is like my entire life, including in these last several years, that there was a group that wanted to have me institutionalized, declared crazy. A lot of it had to do with an inheritance. And a lot of it had to do with I was talking too much about the Cuban cartel, which the Vatican controls. The Vatican Cartel controls the Cuban cartel since the Bay of Pigs, 1960s. Yes, I'm old. So, Elon, honestly, Trump, listen up. You're going to have to greet these people at some point. I mean, the truth of the matter is you're the most important person on the planet today. Wow, I just realized that. You're the most important person on the planet. I know that Maria Corina won the Peace Prize, and I think that's great because it anchors my intentions that there be nonviolent, institutionalized change of governments. This is good. But honestly, you're the most important person on the planet. So when you put together a team to meet with these things that are in the green machines that are on their way here, you have to have Elon there. I already know. People are going to say, you're setting him up for business. Excuse me, he was doing robots before they showed up. They're not going to remember that. But you know what? The old fuddy duddies and the people that we are not going to be able to pay attention to them. Is there an off button? No. But let's remember the date in which Elon presented his Optimus robots. But I think that instead of doing what the Nazis did, and instead of doing, I'm going to say it, what Schumer and his group have done, which is to work with the ETs to control people with bad intentions, you have somebody there with good intentions, which would be Elon, who also knows technology. So that the whole thing that the Nazis did, I don't think Schumer did the technology thing. I have no idea. The whole thing, I think he did the mind control thing together with Adam Schiff. And if I'm wrong, send me a lawsuit. What the hell? What else is no? Well, actually, no. I only had one lawsuit in my life, which I instituted against someone else, and I won, which means I have a great pattern for lawsuits. So, the Nazis worked with ETs, the bad galactics, to create technology. And then, war over, because the galactics pulled the rug out from under them, and everybody else, Britain, Russia, the United States, went in and took over and continued all of that. Operation Paperclip, a book. Read it if you want, but it was to deviate attention away from certain people. Just know that. It's not the Bible on what the Nazis did with the help of the ETs. So you have to have a committee, and that committee has to include Elon, because if it doesn't make any sense. What the hell do we care what people are going to say? Just document the day in which he did the presentation of his robots. And then just as a flag, the people say, you're setting up Elon. Setting him up, he makes more money than everybody else. What's the setup? You're setting him up to work more? So we're going to, but have that ready. Understand that. Have that ready. Thank you, Elon. Again. Okay, I'm making a list of the cartels. So you got the Mexican cartels that cut people's heads off. Okay. Then you have the Cuban cartel, which I used to call the Cuban mafia. We got to do definition of terms here. And they were the mercenaries of people in Washington. A lot of power. They do still tons of black magic. You need to know. The Mexican cartels also do tons of black magic. They're able to go across the planet and hire people in Africa, in Haiti. Okay. The Vatican is this eyebrow. If you look at my videos in this chat rather than on the podcast, you'll see that my left eyebrow, if you could see it, and I brushed it nicely, and it's like crazy. The Vatican is working for me not to remember. But now today I realize not to remember what? Is there other stuff I'm not remembering that they don't want me to remember? Probably. So we got the Vatican Cartel, and they do satanic rituals, which is how I ran into their bad behavior several weeks ago. Yes, that's my phone ringing. It's probably somebody that wants me to quit chatting, quit doing this because I don't take phone calls. So the only reason I know that they do satanic rituals is because they, and all of you know this already if you have followed me on this podcast chat, Francis Fox News from Other Dimensions. Somebody was doing a ritual on me, and I went ahead. I was going to clear it, and I can usually see something, and I saw that I was in a morgue. I wasn't in a morgue. What I saw, the rituals being done in a morgue. They had cut open the body, top to bottom, of a dead person, and they were inserting pictures of me upside down, vertical. And the doctor that was doing it was, I could tell he was like mind controlled. And that morgue is in a Catholic, it's the largest Catholic hospital in Miami, by the water near Grove Isle. And so I decided to use that. It's obviously a satanic ritual, which is what I do with my followers. I take them places. I have the power of induction, according to the US military. And when you're near me, I can take you places or make it easier for you to get there. You also have to be willing to get there. I'm talking other dimensions. So that night I set up a chat and I said, listen, if you want to look at something really interesting, because the most that we've learned about teaching you white magic and teaching my group white magic is through what they know how to do in black magic, unfortunately. So I set up the chat, and we go in, and it turns out that morgue in that hospital by the water near Grove Island, Miami, Catholic hospital, has refrigerators full of organs that are used for rituals. Like yesterday on X, somebody said that somebody had, I don't remember what body part or whatever, and I don't remember what they were using it for. And I put a comment there that I had a housekeeper that had a male penis, real one, that she used to do black magic. Now, why would she share that to me? First place, she told me she knew of someone, and I could tell from her face that it was her. And I guess she thought it might be acceptable. She had just started with me, and I'm a psychic, and then a lot of people assume that psychics work with the devil and all the rest of that. It was horrifying. So the whole thing of having organs in a refrigerator in a morgue is horrifying. But if you know about black magic, then it's like information. And in going back to this ritual that was being done on me from the Cuban cartel, we were like 200 and some people trying to remote view, learning how to remote view that situation. The Vatican was involved. So then we ended up going to the Vatican and going to all those things that are in the subspace in the Vatican. They do a lot of rituals, a lot of dark stuff. So the Vatican continues to work on me. I don't feel it as much, not quite as diligently, but what they want to do is erase my memory. Interesting. Then we have the medical. Okay, so the Vatican, the Mexican cartel, everybody knows is into the most god awful black magic. The Cuban Vatican's cartel are absolutely into the worst that exists, and the team leader and the best of that was my handler. Okay, I think he's still alive. Then we have the Vatican, so now we know they do satanic rituals. The Vatican cartel, and now we have the medical cartel, which I used to call the medical mafia, and a couple of other people called them that, but I did this from a long time ago. I would have to do stuff and not say certain words like healing so that the medical mafia wouldn't go after me. Well, the medical cartel, we're going to find out that they do satanic rituals also. I don't have that information, but the chances of them not doing it to stop their enemies, probably close to zilch and nil. Okay, so Trump. So now I have part of your team that I'm suggesting. It really doesn't make any sense not to have Elon on that team. It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, if you put military on that team, you're going to be setting a pattern. Military is U.S. military is the reason we were called the ugly Americans. It's a reason for that. How many wars that our military started? It's the reason why people rise up in their countries and want to liberate their